The Digest poll at the 500,000 mark. The Literary Digest, August 5th, 1922. It should be possible to form an accurate estimate of public opinion, predicted the New York Tribune, commenting on the tabulation of the first 200,000 votes in the Digest national referendum on Prohibition, when the third or fourth 100,000 are tabulated. With this issue, a tabulation of some 480,000 votes is presented, and numerous publicists are ready with estimates of the state of public opinion which the ballots show. One outstanding fact about the poll continues to be the steadiness with which the earlier distribution of the vote between wets, moists, and dries has been maintained. The present tabulation, which may be said to show a fair number of returns for most sections of the country, reveals much the same state of public opinion as shown in the first, second, and third tabulations. This showing, of course, is interpreted in different ways by different commentators. The Philadelphia Evening Bulletin finds, for instance, that the greatest significance of the balloting is the indication that the various states are standing pat on their previous position as to prohibition, confirming the belief that prohibition is properly an issue within the police powers of the several states, to be determined according to the habit and desire of the people within these jurisdictions. The unpopularity of the saloon, as revealed by the voting as well as by many letters accompanying the ballots, appeals to a great many commentators. Even so confirmed a wet advocate as the New York Morning Telegraph draws this conclusion, and cheerfully suspects that the day of the saloon has passed forever. From the votes already counted, asserts the Pittsburgh Sun, it is difficult to see how the extreme wets can find any ground for encouragement. The editor of this paper, with an eye to certain humorous aspects of the situation, comments further, "It has been amusing, when not distressing, to read the wild statements of the wets and the more rabid dries. Each camp has assured the patient public 1,000 times that it holds 90% of all American citizens. Of course, the 90% cannot be in both camps at the same time, though a considerable proportion of us may carry water on one shoulder and something else on another. It will be as refreshing as the outlawed mint julep is said to have been, to have adequate and accurate information as to just what we do think these hot summer months. Whatever the outcome of the vote, it is likely to put an end to the foolish claims of the extremists on both sides by affording authentic information upon which to base discussion. And that is what we, the people, chiefly need: authentic information." The Baptist, Chicago, official organ of the Baptist Denomination of America, basing its belief on the Digest's first tabulation of 95,000 ballots, which showed a slightly larger percentage of dampness than does the tabulation given herewith, observes that, "There is no comfort coming in this poll for the wets, nor for the moists. America is dry, and we will stay dry." The Baptist calls attention to these facts. 1. Not a single state gives a majority for repeal, not even New Jersey nor New York. 2. Cutting out the southern and western states, predominantly dry, many of them by state enactment before the amendment was adopted, the 14 northeastern states, nearly all wet before the amendment, taken as a whole, voted against repeal 3-1. New Jersey and Pennsylvania voted 2.5-1 against repeal. New York, Illinois, and Massachusetts 3-1. Connecticut 3.5-1. Ohio 6-1. Wisconsin nearly 7-1. California, with its notoriously wet proclivities, voted 4-1 against repeal. A new factor, a real unknown quantity, will be introduced into the poll by the returns from a special poll of 2 million ballots which the Digest has just mailed to women voters. It has been argued that women are predominantly dry, and with equal fervor that they are not so. The votes from this number of women, selected at random from the voters' lists of cities, towns, and country districts throughout the nation, should give a fair indication of the attitude of the women. Its introduction into the poll will help also to balance the general voting list so far used in mailing the Digest ballots, in which men have been in the majority. A careful figuring of percentages indicates that returns on a poll of 2 million women will fairly balance, as between men and women voters, the complete referendum of 10 million voters which is being taken. Granting, however, there is an opportunity for a display of dry strength in this feminine vote, the factory polls which the Digest is taking continue to be extremely damp. A careful poll of the establishment of Park, Davis & Company, manufacturing chemists of Detroit, shows the following results. This vote, with its ratio of 6-1 against the present laws, is not quite as damp as was the poll of the Edison works, summarized in these columns last week, with a ratio of approximately 20-1 against bone dryness. Combining these two polls, the attitude of the workers in two representative factories may be summarized as follows. The Detroit factory, it may be noticed, was overwhelmingly in favor of modification, while the New Jersey institution was almost as strong for complete repeal as for modification of the present law. Especially interesting in this connection is a telegraphed statement by Samuel Gompers, president of the American Federation of Labor, who is among the national authorities asked for an opinion on the poll. He replies, "In addition to the vile and poisonous substitutes for whiskey so largely consumed, and in addition to the increased drug habit since Prohibition, Prohibition has made a nation of grouches. It has taken the joy out of the American people, as can be attested by almost every social gathering. The whole scheme is unwarrantable interference with the personal freedom of the people, and increases discontent and resentment in the knowledge that those who have it, have it. I firmly believe that a modification of the Volstead Act so that beer and light wines may be manufactured and sold under proper regulations would solve the whole question rationally and helpfully. While the present tabulation of the poll shows 62% in favor of a change in the laws, with 38% favoring continuance and enforcement, several commentators believe that it is the attitude of the separate states which chiefly matters, since any alteration of the 18th Amendment could only be effected by a 2/3 majority of the states. The amendment, enforced in the opinion of the extreme dries, is sufficient to ensure an absolutely dry nation. It is interesting to note, therefore, that in the present tabulation, leaving out of consideration states in which the vote is thus far less than 100, only 2 states, Kansas and Arkansas, show a total vote in favor of the continuance of the present amendment and Volstead Act. The 35 other states show a majority in favor of a change. The majorities are in no case for repeal of the amendment, but invariably they express, in the phrase of the Norfolk Virginian pilot, a decidedly positive note of dissatisfaction with 100% aridity.